Thank you very much, Thierry, and hello again to all. So thank you to Sogen as well for this very interactive exercise on the situation of Jose. And I'm delighted that we had so many responses and that a big majority of these responses really reflected this next chapter, this next lecture, which is really the one on unpacking SDG 17, which is the SDG strengthening the means of implementation and revitalizing the global partnership for sustainable development. So partnership is really at the core, and we're going to touch upon some of the guiding principles of this SDG and the tools that it proposes and offers also to the implementers of the 2030 agenda. So I think you all know a lot about partnerships already. I don't know what I'm going to teach you actually in the end of this lecture, but I'm looking forward to receiving your feedback as well on what is most important for you. But we all know that already in the third day of training, SDGs really depends strongly on global, national, local partnerships and cooperation to really be implemented to the fullest. And it is really something that is built upon principles, values, upon a shared vision and shared goals that place people, the planet, at the center of everything, together with prosperity, of course, and partnership in the spirit of peace. So these are the 5 Ps for those who may know about it, that are linked into the 2030 agenda. So when you think especially about the past year that we've all experienced with COVID-19, we notice that no one can actually overcome this pandemic alone, and that global solidarity has become really a moral imperative. It's in everyone's interest. It has been shown and reinforced multiple times during all of the different waves that we are facing. And strong cooperation was really found, especially at the local and regional levels across the globe, without even hesitating. Cities and regions have connected with each other to help each other and to support, share experience. They were looking for experience and solutions. And so this is really something that has strengthened our work on localizing the SDGs together and is helping us really build back better and recover from the pandemic. So what is SDG 17? It is really actually the toolbox of the 2030 agenda. It really provides key information on the means of implementation. It helps guide all the stakeholders and navigate through the roadmap that is the 2030 agenda with the other 16 SDGs. It defines modalities, and it is divided into 5 macro categories, 19 targets, and 25 indicators that we will look at in a few minutes. So it's really going into the heart of the 2030 agenda. It's a goal that calls for coherence. It calls for interconnections, partnerships, planning, and also monitoring. And it moves away from this traditional one-to-one partnership and encourages people to enter into a multiple stakeholder, multiple level partnership, triangular or even bigger, that requires really different types of coordination, different types of support, and most of these are found within the SDG 17 framework and guidelines. So it's especially important actually for local and regional governments, because it is at the local level that coherent policies can be developed to address the multiple challenges of poverty reduction and sustainable development. So really local governments are in this ideal position to encourage and facilitate partnerships between the different bodies of the public sector, but also together with the private sector, who they work with very actively, and civil society. And as you have shown as well in the answers that you've provided just before, you thought of reaching out to the academia sector, to the private sector, to your government, national government, to your national associations. So you have already this different horizontal partnership in mind and vertical partnership in mind as well. And local and regional governments are really key to help safeguard the coherence between different relations as well, because they are at the center and they have this coordinating role. So SDG 17 is also crucial for local and regional governments because it focuses a lot on financing as well, as we will see shortly, and local tax and revenue generation must play its part in financing sustainable development. And then, of course, as well, local and regional governments have been very active at the international scene. They have been collaborating and contributing very much to the international discussion for now over 100 years, and foster SDG implementation through the localization of SDGs through decentralized cooperation. And this is becoming increasingly recognized as well at the UN level, with a dedicated space now provided to local and regional governments within the upcoming high-level political forum. VLRs, so voluntary local reviews, as we know, are gaining visibility and are being recognized as a key tool also to measure progress. So local regional governments have an essential seat at the table. They're starting to get a bigger one, and we should really continue working towards this. So next slide, please. We're going to dig in a bit more into the technicalities of SDG 17, and this may scare you when you see this at first, but really, believe me, it's an easy one to understand. I don't know if it's possible to click one step behind so that we just see the, yeah, exactly, perfect, just the circle, no, not the small information around it. It's fine otherwise, don't worry. We can just stay here. Yes, perfect, thank you. So here you can see what I've been mentioning. So these are the macro, the different segments of SDG 17. So we have the macro categories, which are highlighted in dark blue. Then we have the different targets, and we have also the different indicators. And if we focus on the macro categories, so we can see what SDG 17 actually encompasses. So as mentioned, it focuses on finance, it focuses on technology, on capacity building, so the learning and the sharing. It has a big trade dimension as well, which is crucial. It really is the core of partnerships as well. That's how we started partnering with others for economic reasons as well. And then the systemic issues that are, for instance, policy coherence, data and monitoring, and also, it's a little bit small for my screen, I can't remember the last one, but it's a multi-stakeholder partnership dimension. So for this, you can see, as mentioned also just before, local governments have a crucial role to play in every single element of this circle. So now if we move on to the next animation of the slide, exactly, thank you. We're going to dig deeper a little bit into some of the SDG targets and some of the SDG indicators of SDG 17, just to showcase really the crucial elements of partnership, of decentralized cooperation, and what it means for local and regional governments. So we're going to start in no specific order with SDG 17.14, which is cooperation to enhance policy coherence for sustainable development. And so this I had already briefly introduced prior. It's the point that a well-designed decentralized cooperation process really can ensure the transfer of skills and expertise by designing simple, effective, and implementable policies and deliver purposed outcomes. So some cities are more skillful than others, some cities have more experience than others, and it is important for us to share with each other the different ways in which we engage with our partners, so that we can make sure that we have the best experiences in hand and that we implement our policies and strategies in a very coherent manner that also can complement other policies and strategies implemented by other stakeholders beyond. So really local governments are good candidates to offer lessons to others that want to develop their own context-specific practices. So really policy coherence is key to ensure that we really contribute positively to each other's work, and that we limit especially the negative effects of our work on other people, on other places, on other projects. So it's also important for us to consider vertical policy coherence between levels of governance. The work that is done at the national level should not affect negatively what is done at local level, and vice versa. How can local projects as well implement and enhance national and European and international ambitions? And the horizontal policy coherence, which is really how to work better with stakeholders from different category or different groups, and to make sure that what the public sector does doesn't affect negatively the private, or what the private does doesn't negatively affect the civil society, for instance. So it's to keep in mind that there is this thing called the butterfly effect, and that one small thing that happens in one place can have a bigger impact somewhere else. So it's also something that is very much defended by SDG 17, and that local and governments can really help safeguard. So moving to SDG 17 target 18, this one is calling upon interventions to improve data collection capacities. So data, as we have also noticed in the work that we've done together with case study on engendering SDGs is crucial if we want to monitor the outcomes, outputs, actions, activities of our log frames, of our projects. We need to have the right data to be sure that we're on track with the ambitions that we've set for ourselves. So planning can really greatly be improved by collecting valuable baseline data and linking it to territorial references and mapping. And there are plenty of examples, and I invite you really to have a look at the module to look at and find out more about them from different areas of the world. Brazil sharing experiences with municipalities in Mozambique, surveying, pilot methodologies that are put in place in different neighborhoods. And really, it has all excellent demonstration of localization of SDGs through decentralized cooperation. Target 17.16, which is mobilizing and sharing knowledge, expertise, and technology to support the achievement of the SDGs. So many decentralized cooperation initiatives focus on sharing knowledge and expertise. And this is what we're doing today with our learning and our training. We're really trying to make sure that we help each other the most. And really, it's proof actually of the utility of connecting and exchanging. All perspectives are always valid. Everyone continues to learn from each other and to grow. And this is also something that the Sustainable Development Agenda is putting forward compared to the previous development agenda, which were the Millennium Development Goals, is that it's really everyone is put on an equal level playing field, and partnerships are no longer a donor-recipient kind of a partnership, but really a win-win-win type of a format. So over the last decade, we really seen more lateral, so South-South cooperation that are emerging, involving bilateral technical exchanges, triangular cooperation, as I've mentioned, and these types of cooperation are more easily initiated actually at the local level. So it's where we have a lot of room to grow. And there's another example of the International Labour Organization that has been working with UCLG, for instance, to improve capacities of local actors through South-South and triangular cooperation by focusing notably on employment, local economic development, and integration of the informal sector. So I invite you to find out more as well in the module. And we're going to end with one of my favorite targets, which is the promotion of multi-stakeholder partnerships. So it's really the role of local and regional governments also that are successfully implementing effective partnerships between critical stakeholders at the center, reuniting them all: business, civil society, academia, trade unions, different types of authorities from different levels. The SDGs are really easy to understand. They are considered relevant by most stakeholders. They make it easier to connect projects, and they provide really this language that is understood by all. It's a baseline language that helps to connect across the world. So it's really the spirit of SDG 17. And with that, now I hope you have a little bit more understanding of what it means to work on a decentralized cooperation partnership and how you contribute so actively to implementing the 2030 agenda through this means. So I'm going to stop here because I think I'm running out of time and I maybe already went over time. I'm very sorry about that. But you can spend a lot of time talking about SDG 17, and I'm happy to talk about it more with you if you have questions.